Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. My name is Mark Roden, and in today's video we're going to be going over the top 15 best luxury cars for less than $10,000. I was going to do top 25 like I usually do, obviously with my cheap car videos, but plain and simple, I don't know 25 luxury cars under $10,000 because, as you guys know, I'm not really into luxury cars all that much, and so I kind of had to go out of my comfort zone to make this list on cars that I think are pretty cool and I think are pretty luxurious and stuff like that. But again, obviously, I'm always open for recommendations in the comments. If anybody has any good recommendations of good luxury cars under 10 grand, greatly appreciate it, because they were only going with 15. I feel like I'm cheating you guys. I feel like I'm cheating you because I usually do 25, so I apologize. Either way, media of the day is Need for Speed Underground 2. It's a banger. It's iconic. I mean, it's Underground 2. Some people would argue it's the best Need for Speed game of all time. I disagree with that sentiment. I think it's in the top 5. I wouldn't put it in the top 3 though. But it is an incredible racing game nonetheless. The top 5 Need for Speed game is an incredible racing game, one of the best racing games ever created, obviously, and you can have a ton of fun in Need for Speed Underground 2. One of my favorite things about Underground 2 is that it has SUVs. I don't like SUVs, don't get me wrong, and when I played Need for Speed Underground 2, I never really used them, but it's just kind of cool that they're even there as an option, you know what I mean? Either way, without further ado, let's right into it with the top 15 best luxury cars under 10 grand. And coming in at the wonderful number 15 spot is going to be going to the Porsche Cayenne first generation. Yeah, it's obviously very hard to find any Porsches under $10,000, but the ones that are obviously pretty luxurious, especially the SUV. This car comes with a 3.6 liter V6, making 290 horsepower, and it is all-wheel drive. The horsepower number is good and everything, but obviously a lot of the cars on today's list have higher horsepower numbers because they're luxury cars. Luxury cars are pretty heavy, and so even though they have high horsepower numbers, they're obviously not putting it to good use. It's not like you have 290 horsepower in an S chassis, you know what I mean? It's 290 horsepower in an SUV, so it's not going to be really fast, is what I'm saying. But it can go off-road, it can do all that stuff, and you could be comfortable while doing it. Also, I like the looks of the first-gen Porsche Cayennes. And coming in at the wonderful number 14 spot, ladies and gentlemen, was a car that I actually, the only car on this entire list, as a matter of fact, that I actually was like thinking about buying for a little while there. Every other car on this list, I never really thought about it. The Infiniti Q50. The Infiniti Q50 comes with 2 motor options, but the one I'm going with is 3.7 liter V6, making 330 horsepower, and it is rear-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. That is the VQ37HR, and that's a very tried and true motor. I would personally rather have the 3.7 liter V6 over the 3.0 turbo, but there is a 3 liter turbo option as well. That's the same motor that they're using in the 400Zs. I know they're called the Nissan Z. I call them 400Zs. Watered down versions of the GTR motor is pretty much what they are. I like the VQ37 better, in my personal opinion. It's naturally aspirated, it's more reliable. Nonetheless, the car is extremely reliable. I feel like, or luxurious. I feel like people don't think about that when they think of Infinitis anymore, but that's what they're built for. They're luxurious, nice, comfortable cars, like very, very comfortable, and they look obviously really cool. Nothing really wrong with it, except for, I guess it's not like the most luxurious car on today's list, which is why it's getting 14th. Coming in at 13th place is the moment where it needs to be mentioned. It's the Audi A8 D3. And what I meant by it needs to be mentioned is obviously luxurious cars, luxury cars, whatever you want to call them, are not really known for their reliability, and this is the first example of that on today's list. This car comes with a 4.2 liter V8, making 350 horsepower, and it is all-wheel drive. And on top of that, the A8s are obviously big body Audis. These things are huge. They have tons of space in them. They're land yachts pretty much, and they're extremely comfortable. But with that being said, this is a V8 powered Audi. I don't think I need to be the one to tell you this, but V8 powered Audis are plain and simple ticking time bombs. And when they do have a problem, which again isn't going to be that rare, it's not going to be that cheap or easy to fix the problem. So keep that in mind. Again, it is a luxury car, and I understand most people kind of expect that going into a luxury car, but I think it's just worth mentioning since usually most of my cars I talk about on my list are reliable. And coming in at the number 12 spot is beautiful. It's truly beautiful, but it's not as good as its sport trim, so nobody ever talks about it. The Cadillac CTS second generation. Yeah, it's a Cadillac. Like, I feel like people, again, forget about the fact that Cadillac literally built its reputation on being a more luxurious version of Chevrolets. Chevys aren't like crazy, but these are pretty reliable, comfortable. The car comes with a 3.6 liter V6, making 263 horsepower, and it is rear-wheel drive. It's a fun little platform too. They're not even that heavy compared to other cars on today's list. They look pretty good. The second gen CTSs look good, and you can modify them and have a little bit of fun with them. They do have a V6, but it's a pretty reliable, decent V6. It's not like a ticking time bomb or anything like that. And yeah, they're extremely luxurious, extremely comfortable. Everything about them is pretty damn good. There's really no downsides to them besides, I guess, the fact that the CTS-V is just kind of cooler. Coming in at the wonderful number 11 spot. Yeah, I mean, we're talking about luxury cars here, folks. We're talking about comfortable cars, it's obviously going to be at least one Mercedes. 11th place is the Mercedes C300 W204. This car comes with a 3-liter V6 making 231 horsepower, and it is rear-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. That has the 4MATIC, obviously, if you want all-wheel drive. Obviously, the C-Class Mercedes aren't like the top-of-the-line luxury line for Mercedes-Benz. They're actually kind of the basic ones. There are, I believe the A-Class is below them, but C-Class isn't like crazy luxurious. It's kind of the equivalent of a 3 Series. But with that being said, a Mercedes C-Class is still a Mercedes-Benz. It's still going to be like extremely comfortable. It's still going to be extremely luxurious because it's still a damn Mercedes. And it's one of the more fun Mercedes because C-Classes are lighter. However, ladies and gentlemen, breaking its way into the wonderful top 10 here, coming in at the number 12 or 10 spot, oh, I almost said 12, is the BMW 740 iL E38. You guys know how much I love the E38s, man. I think they are slept on chassis. Well, not the chassis is heavy and it's a land yacht, but slept on cars. The car comes with a 4.4 liter V8 making 286 horsepower, and it is rear wheel drive. And before you're like, ah, man, another German V8, just like the Audi he was talking about earlier, that means it's going to be unreliable. I'm upset. No. Surprisingly, no. The 4.4 liter V8 that they put in the E38 740i's and the E39's 540i's are actually extremely reliable. These motors are very, very reliable. They're going to get the job done. The cars look pretty nice. They're obviously massive and land yachts, so they're not going to be the most fun cars out there to drive. But plain and simple, this is a very, very good platform. The only reason why I'm not putting it any higher is it is old at this point and it's going to show its age. Coming in at 9th place is the only one on this list where it's like a little bit broad because there's just so many freaking trims for this car. The Mercedes S-Class W221. The W221 S-Class, my buddy has one, Dom. Shout out Dom. And it is one of the most comfortable cars I've ever been in, period. Yes, you could, like, these cars, keep in mind, were like 100 grand when they came out because they're freaking S-Class Mercedes. And you could find them under 10 grand now. And they still have insanely luxurious and comfortable interiors and stuff like that. But again, there's tons of different trims for it and tons of different engines that the car comes with, so the motors and stuff like that are differing. However, they are available with rear-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. Honestly, if I'm going to get an S-Class, I know it's crazy to say this because I'm a rear-wheel drive fan. I love rear-wheel drive cars. I think they're just so much more fun. But if I'm getting an S-Class, I'm getting the all-wheel drive here, man. I think I'm getting the all-wheel drive on this one, to be honest. Okay, coming in at the wonderful number 8 spot is one of the most unreliable cars on today's list, but honestly one of the coolest, dude. When they're running, these things are sick. The Land Rover Range Rover HSE. This is like the first gen Land Rover Range Rovers. They have multiples now at this point. But they come with a 4.4 liter V8 making 305 horsepower, and they are 4x4s, obviously. They're like, the way I think about Land Rover Range Rovers is that they remind me of like a luxurious, even more comfortable and bougie, beautiful version of like a Jeep. Like they can do everything that a Jeep can do. It can go off-road, do all that crazy stuff, and do it well. And but it's just more comfortable and luxurious and stuff like that. And you can find them under 10 grand. Now, the reason why they are under 10 grand is, of course, the reliability issues of these cars. They are British with the V8. They're going to have a lot of problems. But if you find one that's running and been well maintained and you well maintain it yourself, it can pay off. And 2 back-to-back horribly unreliable cars. Welcome to the land of luxury vehicles. Coming in at the number 7 spot is going to be going to the BMW 550i F10. My buddy Zach has one of these. Shout out Zach. And it is so fun, such a fun car, but also extremely comfortable, extremely luxurious. The car comes with a 4.4 liter twin turbocharged V8 making 400 horsepower on the dot, and it is rear-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. Plain and simple, that's a really fun platform. Yes, the F10 is pretty heavy because it's a 5 Series, but it still is making 400 horsepower. This car is still going to be a whole lot of fun when it's running. Unfortunately, these cars are kind of ticking time bombs. This is a BMW that deserves its reputation. It does have problems. As a matter of fact, Zach's 550i that he has right now is in the shop for a problem that it has. They are unfortunately just a little bit too unreliable to recommend any higher, but again, if you can find one that's well maintained, I think they're really cool, really fun cars. Coming in at the wonderful number 6 spot, again, I'm an American, so obviously there's going to be at least 2 Cadillacs talking about when we're talking about some luxurious cars. Because coming in at the number 6 spot is the Cadillac Escalade 3rd generation. You can find 3rd gen Escalades under 10 grand now, and I think they are a steal. These cars come with a 6.2 liter V8 making 403 horsepower, and they are 4x4s. Keep in mind, obviously, they're a massive family SUV. These things are pretty much trucks, maybe even a little bit. As a matter of fact, they're probably even heavier than trucks because they don't have a bed, and the bed is lighter. So yeah, they're probably even heavier than trucks, if I had to guess. So obviously 403 horsepower, even though it sounds good, isn't going to be like that much fun, isn't going to be like super fast or anything. But it's all about the interior. Tahoes, I've been in Tahoes my entire life. My mom has owned them my entire life. They're already very comfortable cars to drive around in. Not super luxurious, it doesn't have like crazy tech, but really comfortable. The Escalade is just a more comfortable, more luxurious version of that. Coming in at 5th place, I'm going to be honest with y'all, ladies and gentlemen. I'm surprised. I don't think I've ever once talked about this car on my channel, and they are so slept on. The Volkswagen CC. The Volkswagen CC is a car that it looks so cool, made by Volkswagen, and is mind-blowing. It is really mind-blowing. The car comes with a 2-liter turbocharged inline-4, making 200 horsepower on the dot, and it is all-wheel drive. Now, obviously, that horsepower number isn't that great. These cars are not going to be that fun. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure that motor is the same motor that they were putting in the GTIs at the time, but in just a a much heavier platform. So if you're going for fun, obviously, the GTI is just better in that sense because it's just lighter. This is a heavier platform, but it is offered as all-wheel drive instead of front-wheel drive, obviously, like the GTIs are. So maybe that's worth something at least. But it's obviously what you're buying a CC for is a luxury, and it is absolutely there. And it looks really freaking cool. However, coming in at the number 4 spot, obviously it's not just going to be talking about one Audi when we're talking about luxury cars. So coming in at number 4 is the Audi A6 C7. Yeah, the A6 is obviously not as high of a trim as the A8 is, so it's not as luxurious, not as comfortable, but it's that perfect middle ground. They come with a 3-liter supercharged V6, making 333 horsepower, and it is all-wheel drive. Here's the thing, that motor is the same motor they were putting in the Audi S4 B8s. And so again, the S4 B8s are lighter weight. So if what you're going for is just strictly fun, then the S4 B8 is obviously the better option. However, the A6 is much nicer and has a much nicer interior and is much bigger with much more space. And it's just overall much more comfortable in a bigger luxury car. It's the best of both worlds. It's not as big and not as heavy and just unfun like the A8 is, but it has more luxury and more creature comforts and stuff like that than the A4 does. Coming in at 3rd place, it's obvious. Y'all already knew it was going to be on this list, man. You're talking to Mark Roden. I've mentioned these cars in every list I get the option to. The Lexus LS400. Yeah, the LS400s are just plain and simple perfect. They are getting a little bit overpriced in the big 2.6, but they're still really good options. They come with a 4-liter V8, making 270 horsepower, and they are rear-wheel drive. They're obviously grandpa cars. They're only offered with an automatic. They're heavy. They're long wheelbase, blah, blah, blah. You get the idea. LS400s are not race cars, but they are extremely comfortable. I've ridden in an LS400 before, and the LS400 was literally built to rival the BMW 7 Series and the Mercedes S-Classes of the time, and it did that better, and you can see that when you drive one of these. Now, they are, again, getting a little bit pricey. People are starting to want the LS400s, unfortunately, but I still do think in 2026, they're at least still a good option. Maybe 2 years from now, they won't be, though. Coming in at 2nd place, y'all already know. Y'all already know how much your boy loves the Acura TL, but today I'm actually going to go with the Acura TL 4th gen. I always recommend the 3rd gen because I think the 3rd gen looks so much better. I've never been a fan of the 4th gen's looks, but when talking about strictly luxury and comfort, the 4th gen is clearly the better option. The car comes with a 3.5-liter V6, making 280 horsepower, and it is front-wheel drive. That's also a little bit more horsepower than the 3rd gen. Keep in mind the car does weigh a little bit more though than the 3rd gen. It's really just the looks. If you can get over the looks of the 4th gen Acura TLs, these things are perfect. They have a freaking J series Honda motor, so it's reliable as hell. They're luxurious as hell. They're not like obviously up to class with like an S class or a 7 Series or a A8 Audi or anything like that. But they are still luxurious as hell, and they're fun. Like, everything about them is great. And again, if you like the looks of them, then there's literally no downsides, because the only downside, in my opinion, is looks. But coming in at 1st place, and in my opinion, easily the best luxury car that you can find for under $10,000 in 2026 is going to be going to the Lexus GS430 3rd generation, the 3rd gen Lexus GS, not the 3rd gen Lexus GS430. The Lexuses are always so weird to say, because it's like, you say like GS430, but this is technically the first time they introduced the GS430 trim, but it's a 3rd gen GS. It's so annoying. Either way, the car comes with a 4.3-liter V8, making 300 horsepower on the dot, and it is rear-wheel drive. It is a Toyota V8. It's a 2UZ, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong on that. I do apologize if I am. But nonetheless, it is a Toyota V8, and they proved themselves with the LS400. This is pretty much, it's going to hurt some people's feelings when I say this, but it's the truth, a better, more modern version of an LS400. That's also cooler and funner to drive. Like, that's all there is to it. They're extremely slept on. Such good cars for under 10 grand. But ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of today's video, going over the top 15 best luxury cars that you can buy for less than $10,000. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel for more content just like this. Let me know what other videos you'd like to see in the comment section down below. Check the links in the description for any of my other social medias or any of my other YouTube channels or any of that great mumbo jumbo. And thank you guys so much for watching. Sorry for right towards the end of the video there, it started like downpouring outside. So if you guys can hear the rain hitting like the cellar doors over there, I deeply apologize for that. But luckily we are almost done with the video. So, and also it's much needed, dude. If anybody lives up here in Connecticut, up in New York, Mass, whatever, around this area, you know, these past couple of days have been a nightmare. It has been the freaking like 90 degrees, just sweating my balls off all day long, just absolute pain and misery. So the rain is bringing the temp down and it's making me a little bit happy, to be honest, so I can't complain about it. But yeah, sorry about that if you heard that. Next video is going to be what makes the Ford Crown Victoria so great. That's coming out on Friday, obviously. Then Monday will be a re-upload, obviously, as you guys know, of what makes it great from the past. And then next Wednesday will be another top 25. That's how we're doing it, baby. Also, I kind of wanted to start doing some what makes video games so great. I'll start with like car video games, obviously, like racing video games, because that's what the channel is around, like what makes Need for Speed so great or whatever. I could do what makes sports so great and just do like, you know, history, going over the history of those games or whatever it may be. But maybe eventually we can segment into other ones. Let me know what you guys are thinking on that. I think it might be a good idea, but I also think, you know, trying to like introduce video games to an audience that primarily cares about cars is probably a bad idea. So I don't know, we'll have to see. But either way, thank you guys so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Das Vidania, and have a nice night.